Hey friends, Sleepy here, and welcome to a new discussion vlog. Had an interesting topic I would love to discuss with you and get your guys' thoughts on, so I would love for you guys to participate in this. Feel free to leave your guys' thoughts as a comment. If this is one of those topics that you would rather film a video response for, that would be awesome. I would love to check out your guys' video response. I just ask you to let me know about it so I can check it out, and I'll also post a link to your video response as a comment so other people can check it out as well. So the topic I wanted to talk about today was, do you guys think we play too many video games from our collections, or do you feel we don't play enough games from our collections and that maybe we do too much collecting and not enough playing of the games? I will share my thoughts with you guys on this subject, but of course I would like to hear your guys' thoughts as well. Now for me, one of my biggest goals since 2019, so this is going my 5th year, has been to play more games from my collection and to get more into playing games and get away from the collecting aspect part of the video game hobby, as I really got into that pretty hardcore for several years, especially when I was going for my complete original Xbox set, and then it kind of got a little overboard when I started going after variants. You know, it's like, this game has a CD with it, so I want to get that. Then this next game's got a movie variant with it, so I want to pick up that one. This one came with an art book, oh, I got to get that. This one has an alternate cover. This one came with with a trading card. You know, you can go down that rabbit hole of just being sucked into the whole vortex of collecting, and it can really start to dominate your hobby and take away from actually playing and enjoying these games, where you're just getting sucked into the world of collecting, which has happened to me in the past. Especially in some of the Facebook groups that I used to be a part of, where we would share, you know, your finds, and people would be telling you, oh, that's awesome, oh, I never knew about that, and you were getting good interaction with it. But you know, it was just so easy to get stuck into that mindset of, oh yeah, I gotta keep buying stuff to show off to people, and you know, you like that little pat on the back you get from people, but then that feeling only lasts so long, and then you have to move on to the next thing, and then the next thing, so you can get that same feeling, and so you can find yourself getting sucked into just buying and collecting for the sake of buying and collecting, but you're not actually playing and enjoying these games. And so I had to finally, you know, step away from the variant collecting for original Xbox and started focusing on collecting other things in my collection, but also I wanted to start focusing more on playing the games in my collection, because I definitely was not at a time playing enough games in my collection. I was doing more collecting than actually gameplay, and you know, I was spending so much time scouring eBay and Craigslist for ads. You know, I was also going out game hunting a lot of my days off, so just spending a ton of hours every week that I could have been spending playing the actual games in my collection, as I was looking, you know, to buy them, because you know, it's always been fun to go to thrift stores. You just don't know what you're going to find at these stores, and going out to yard sales, going to flea markets, going to local game stores, and just looking for stuff. And it's just the whole act of collecting, and the searching is just really fun, because you don't know what you're going to actually find, and that adds to the thrill of the hunt. But it led me into just spending too much time focusing on the collecting aspect and not enough on the gaming aspect. So that's why in 2019 I decided one of my major goals was going to be to play more games in my collection, and it helped me create a series I love that I've got over 200 episodes in, and it's my weekly gaming playlist series, and it's one that I do every week. Now there are some weeks that I miss because of obligations with work and family and other things, but I try to be very consistent with that video series, where I go over the games that week that I'm playing with you guys, and I share my thoughts, and I ask you guys what your opinions are on the games I share with you, and then I ask you guys to tell me about the games you guys are playing, because that gave me ideas of games to check out. You know, someone's like, oh, I played this, you know, just as an example, say like, oh, I played the new Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection, and it has all these collection of old Ninja Turtle games on it from Game Boy and NES and Super Nintendo and the arcades and stuff. And, you know, I was listening to them talk about it, and like, oh yeah, that looks cool. And so then I would research, oh, this game looks pretty awesome. And then I would also ask you guys to give me recommendations of games to check out, which you guys have recommended a lot of great games over the years. Some of them I've played thanks to your guys' recommendations. I've also got recommendations of games from watching some of your guys' pickup videos, or videos you guys guys put up about a game, the little topic talking about it. And so I've discovered some great games that I wanted to play thanks to you guys. And I've really loved having that video series because it has helped encourage myself. And I know others have told me that it's encouraged them to take the time to play more games in their collections. And I personally feel that a lot of people are more on the second part of this topic and not the first. Is I think there's a lot of people, they don't play enough of their video game collection, just from interacting with several people in Facebook groups, which I've not been very active in those like the last couple years, but when I was pretty heavily active in them, it seemed that more people were interested in talking about the collecting part and showing off what they're buying than actually talking about the games they were playing. And I would notice this in different posts I would make. Like I would make my pickup posts and like the original and some of my Xbox groups or something talking about the stack of new Xbox games I added or a new variant or something, and talking about some of the information that had been lost, because we lost a lot of information about the original Xbox from Microsoft itself and just over the years. And myself and some others have discovered some of this lost information, and now more and more people are discovering it, and a lot of people enjoyed those posts. But I would notice that in those kind of posts where I shared like, I bought these 10 new games for the original Xbox set, or this variant, or this collector's edition for 360, a lot of people would interact with it. Oh yeah, man, that's awesome. I gotta get that. And they talk about wanting to buy it and what they were buying. Then I'd make a post about, let's say, a couple of racing games or adventure games, talking about things I really love, and I would notice that the interaction on those would not be as much as the pickup posts. It seemed like more people cared about what you were buying than actually talking about and discussing the games they were actually playing. Talking about, I love this racing game because it has these features, it has these cars, this kind of track, it has this story mode, and it just seemed that people were less interested in actually talking about playing the games when they seemed to be more focused on wanting to buy the games and show off. And that's why I actually had to leave a couple of different gaming groups in Facebook over the years. I was in way too many to really actively participate in them anyways. But some of them, it seemed to focus just way too much on the collecting aspect and then the showing off. And then I'd notice a few people were trying to one-up each other and who could get the better deal. And sometimes some of the deals seemed to be a little, and I don't know how true they were, where people fabricating pickups, and I got this for $1, and I went to the yard sale, and this old lady brought out this huge box of some of the rarest games, and I got them all for $5 a piece. And I noticed some of those kind of stories, and so I just decided to quietly leave those groups. Didn't do any like big major, hey guys, sorry, I'm leaving, and I don't like this group anymore. I just stopped participating, and I just quietly left the groups and just stuck to a few of them that I'm on, which I'm still not very active, as I'm not really big into Facebook that much anymore. But occasionally, I'll go on there and interact with people. But I do most of my interaction here on YouTube. But that's just one thing I've noticed, is it just seems like a lot of people were into the collecting aspect of this hobby and not so much into the gaming, which I myself have fallen into that trap when I share my story with you guys about what the original Xbox, getting into too much collecting and not enough gameplay. Now, in the past, there were times where I was getting into way too much gaming itself, and that was years ago when I didn't really have a whole lot of obligations, though. There was just kind of myself on my own apartment. I wasn't married, didn't have a son or anything, and so I was able to devote a lot of time to gaming, and I did play a lot of games, just hours and hours of games. I'd work and then come home and game like 10 hours. I was gaming like 40, 50 hours some points in that time period. And sometimes, you play a little too much video games, which I do know you got to watch out. You don't get too addicted to wanting to play video games. There are people I know that have gotten addicted. Myself, I have been addicted in the past. But I had to finally, try to find that healthy balance between gaming, playing the games, collecting the games, and then doing other hobbies as well, and not getting too stuck into this hobby, because you want to keep it as a hobby and keep it fun and not have it something that dominates your life completely. And that was because, people were asking me to hang out, and I was like, nah, I don't feel like hanging out and saying I was busy doing something when I was really just playing games. And so eventually, I got out of that little habit, and then I was back to, more balanced life and spending time with friends and stuff. And then eventually I met my wife and was dating her, and So I feel like at this point in my life now, here in 2024, that I found a right balance when it comes to gaming and collecting. You know, I keep my collecting to just what I really, really want to get right now, as I've really toned down the collecting, and I've replaced it more with playing more video games from my collection. And that's where I've just wanted to be focused at, and I make sure, you know, that I don't game too much, but I make sure that I game enough that I'm able to still enjoy this hobby. And so I actually have some stack of games here of ones that I have either started and want to complete, or ones I would like to play this year, and just talk a little bit about them. So this first one here is a PlayStation 2 title, and this is Warhammer 40,000 Fire Warrior, which I had started playing last year. It's a really cool first-person shooter in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. So, you know, there's not a whole lot of Warhammer 40,000 video games on the older consoles like the PlayStation 2, but this one is a personal favorite of mine. And I remember that my brother and I actually played this before we even knew anything about the Warhammer 40,000 universe. It just looked cool. You play as these Tau Warriors, which we at the time thought they were robots. They're not robots, but we thought they were. And we just thought it was a pretty cool first-person shooter, but I never beat it. I got about halfway and then stopped playing it, completely forgot about it. And then when I started getting in a few years ago into the Warhammer 40,000 universe, I remembered that I had this game in my collection, and I started playing it last year. And so this year I'd like to go back and complete the story, because it is pretty fun, and I do love first-person shooters, and I really love the Warhammer 40,000 universe. And so this is one that I would love to finish and complete this year. Another one for PlayStation 2, here's one I have not played in years. I beat it a long time ago, but I'd like to beat it again, and that is Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny, which I love these Onimusha games. It's pretty much like, think of kind of like Resident Evil, but with samurais and demons and stuff instead of zombies, and that's what you get with this series. And I've always loved the Onimusha series. I've beat 1 and 2, but I never did beat 3. I got pretty far in it and stopped playing it, and then I never got a chance to play the Onimusha Dawn of Dreams. So I wanted to go back through the series again from the beginning, which I did play Onimusha Warlords on the Xbox One because it got ported to it, and I tried and beat that a few years ago. And this year I'd like to play this through again, because there's so many secrets and stuff to discover, things I don't even remember about. So this is another one I'd love to play this year for PS2. For original Xbox here, this is one that I'm actually working on this week, which you guys will see in my this week's Friday's episode, is Max Payne, which I love this game. I had not played it in many years, been thinking about it for a long time, and my brother and I had been talking about Max Payne and how he was playing it on his Steam Deck. And I was like, yeah, I gotta play it on the Xbox because it is backwards compatible on Series X. And so I'm working through playing Max Payne because I love this game. You know, there was the cool mechanics with the bullet time and slowing down time and the huge variety of weapons. It was really bloody and violent, had great voice acting, and had a really dark story that I really enjoyed. So I'm working on that one. And with that, I also would like to play its sequel, Max Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne, which I have not played this one in years either. Don't really remember much at all of the story. I did play and beat this years ago, but I have completely forgotten the story in this one. So I've not been really looking too much into gameplay and story of this, as I don't want to ruin the story. I want to play Max Payne first, 1, and then eventually I'm going to go through and play Max Payne 2. So that's another one on my list. This is another one you guys have seen the past week. I'm still continuing my work on it, and that was the Hunter the Reckoning series. There's 3 of them total in this series. I want to first beat this first one, then I want to go to Hunter the Reckoning Redeemer, and then Hunter the Reckoning Wayward for the PlayStation 2, and finally beat all these, because I played this game multiple times over the years. I've just even co-op with my brother and other people, and then I played it solo, and I've just never beat it. I want to finally beat this one now, and I'm looking forward to completing it this year. I have some Xbox One titles here too, some new ones I've discovered last year, like the Eternal Cylinder. This is a pretty interesting little game where you play as these little creatures. You're on this world that has this big giant cylinder that periodically will crush the world behind you, and you have to run from it. There's enemies for you to fight in this game, puzzles to solve, and it just looked really interesting. So this is another one that I want to play this year. Also, I have one here that's been recommended to me by my good buddy Dean, my buddy Nick T. Wolf, and a few others, and that was Dredge. And this is the deluxe edition of it. I know there's some DLC for it. Heard really good things about this, where you're on a boat and there's a story and you deal with fishing and stuff, and it's an indie game, but it looks really fun. And so this is another one that I want to play this year and go through because it looks really good. and I can't wait to check it out. And the final one I want to talk about is one that I started. I need to go back and finish beating this. I've played it a few years ago, and that was Necromunda Hired Gun, which is another first-person shooter set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. I love this game. It is amazing, great graphics. I love the voice acting, the music. You got heavy metal playing. It's really fast gunplay. Really good game. It has just the right amount of challenge. It's not too hard. It's not too easy. But it's one I have not finished beating because it is a fairly lengthy game, especially if you go through all the side stuff and grinding to level up your character. And so that's another one that I would like to beat, is Necromunda Hired Gun. So right here I've got quite a few games to play this year, and I've got a huge list of other games that I want to play and experience myself. So for me, I feel like I found the right balance now with gaming, collecting, and life. You know, I feel like I do enough collecting, I'm doing more gaming myself, but of course at the same time I'm not allowing myself to be completely taken over by gaming. You know, I'm not just ignoring my wife and ignoring my son and not going to work and not hanging out with family, and I'm not gonna mess up my obligations to other parts of life. You know, I still have other interests in life that I make sure that I make time for, and that I keep gaming at a healthy level. So for me, I found that right balance where I can game so many hours every week, but then I can also do other things besides gaming, because, you know, I love gaming, but I don't want it to just completely dominate my entire life, and all I care about 24/7 is video games, collecting, you know. I had to find that right balance, and I feel like in this part of my life in 2024, I have found the perfect balance for me with video games and life, and I'm really happy where I am, and I feel like I'm having enough hours into gaming and playing, and so many wonderful games to experience this year, so many stories, and really having a fun time. So make sure you guys stay tuned every Friday for my weekly gaming playlist series. I'll release new episodes going over the games that I'm playing with you guys, and I share my thoughts on them and recommendations, and of course I would like to hear your guys' thoughts as well on those topics. So make sure you stay tuned every Friday to check out what new games that I am playing and talking about. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. You know, do you guys think we play too many video games? You know, think we spend too much time playing games and not enough time doing other stuff? Or do you feel maybe like a majority of people spend too much time not playing enough games? Maybe they're too busy collecting and buying stuff. They don't actually take the time to sit back and enjoy these wonderful experiences they have. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on the topic. Feel free to leave a comment. I love reading your guys' comments. I know some people have said, oh, sorry, you know, I leave really long comments. It's all right. I love reading long comments. I leave them myself, so the longer the comment, the better it is for me. I love reading them. But if you guys feel like this is a topic that maybe I want to film a video response, because, you know, a comment just isn't going to do enough justice, and I got other things I'd like to add to it, feel free to film a video response. I'd love to check it out. Always love watching your guys' video responses. I just ask that you guys let me know about it so I can check it out. Then I'll post a link as a comment, and other people can check out your video responses as well. All right, guys, I want to thank you for watching. Take care. You guys have an amazing day, and Sleepy will see you guys next time.